Oh, thank you, Gabriel, and the whole Optimist team for hosting us this morning and having us share a little bit about what's going on with document management as all of these new Microsoft systems are coming online, and you're maybe making some decisions about, what happens if I move from one ERP system to the next. What do I do with my documents? How does all that work? Well, when you partner with QuickTag and working with Optimist for this type of project, it can be very, very seamless because your documents can stay in the same house regardless of which ERP system you're using. So we're going to highlight a few things that are new. I'll talk about that in a moment, specifically as we integrate with the new Microsoft Dynamics systems. But also I'll talk a little bit about what we do just foundationally as QuickTag with document management, and Michael's going to demonstrate some of that for us. So as Vishal mentioned, my name is Mary Miller, and I am joined by my colleague, Michael Sortino. Michael, if you want to say good morning to everyone.
Good morning, everyone.
Excellent. Thanks, Michael.
Yeah, there
So
you go. More
we're
to come.
right, more to come soon. Hold your breath, everyone. So we're excited to join you today and really kind of share what is all this business about document management, specifically in Dynamics Business Central, but then we're also going to take it to an organization-wide perspective, because not everybody in your organization may use Dynamics Business Central. And by the way, QuickTag also integrates with GPSL, NavAX, and D365 Finance. So it doesn't matter whether you're using Business Central or not. We're just going to highlight what's new with the document management functionality in Business Central in today's discussion. And some of you may have seen other things with QuickTag before in some of the other ERP systems, but chances are you haven't seen it in Business Central yet. So that's what we're going to highlight today. We're going to do a product demonstration. We'll start out there. We'll start out in BC, and then we will expand, as I mentioned, to greater realm of document management that Michael will share with us as well. And then we'll have time for questions and discussions. So if there's things that you want to know about what we're covering or something, that comes to you during the course of the session, please go ahead and enter a question through the interface there. So we'll be able to address that at the end. So before we dive in, I like to take a little bit of time. If you've been on a QuickTag training session before, you know that we like to understand and help you understand the why do anything, why change, why is this such a problem that we need to worry about document management and process automation and getting things, out of a paper format. Well, there are a lot of reasons, and research shows that a lot of it has to do with the fact that invoices in many cases, contracts, quotes, purchase orders, packing slips, the documents related to the financial transactions that you need to run your business are still on paper. They come into your business in many cases on paper. They get routed around from person to person to person, many cases on paper, and then you use the data off of that paper to manually enter the data into your ERP system. And this creates a lot of different problems, right? Things get lost, they sit on somebody's desk too long, nobody has visibility, etc., etc. So then when you add to that mix that there are multiple departments responsible for different stages of a transaction, let's say a purchase order, a packing slip, and an invoice as an example, there's no visibility many times to that paper between departments. And what does exist is oftentimes the physical piece of paper being routed from one person to the next in the hopes that nothing gets lost or delayed. Add to that, if shipping and receiving maybe are done at a warehouse location or a different area of the same business, whether the same location or another, that creates another level of separation. So we've got paper problems, we've got lack of visibility, we can't find things because there's no communication or visibility, and ultimately our goal is to run our business and have our financials in order and pay our bills on time. And lots of times this information still lives on paper. So our goal is that you would be able to take this information and add to it the data that supports the cost of doing it that way, and really understand and consider how you can take a document management system like QuickTag and make the paper go away, make it easy to find those documents when you need them, and tie them together. What do I mean by that? Digitally relate the documents that are specific to a given transaction. So we'll talk about that a little bit more in the demonstration. So you want to be able to find the documents and see them as they relate to other documents potentially in the same process. And then you want to extend beyond that. Again, maybe not all of your employees are Business Central users. So they might need to add documents, let's say for HR or contracts or other organizations, other departments in your organization, other teams, that sort of thing. So we'll show you all of that. But before we dive into that, just know that there is a true hard cost from running this aspect of your business on paper. And research shows that that cost can go from $15, as you see here on the second column, average process of costing an invoice. And this is if it's a combination of paper and electronic, okay? If that's 100% paper, friends, that number goes up to $23.60. It's expensive to run your business processing invoices manually on paper. Even if it's just a matter of getting them into the system, it's very expensive to process them that way. And the time that it takes to get an invoice from receipt to approval is 45 days. So adding a little bit of digitization, adding an element of automation, I just made up a new word there, automation, sorry about that, automation and digitization of those documents. Did you like that? Yeah, I'm working on it. You know, is really going to help you save time. As you look in the upper right hand corner, innovators see 5 days. In fact, we had a customer just tell us as they were sharing their story that it's down to 3 days. They can get invoices into the system and get them routed, approved, and processed within 3 days. Now, that's if you have our quick payables solution, and we do that very specifically within some ERP systems, but let's not get into the details of that. Just understand that when you start to automate, that time can go down, the costs certainly go down, and you're going to really begin to gain a really good picture, a lot of visibility around the documents and the processes in your organization. So let's talk about what this looks like in real world. The real world is that you live many times in your ERP system. Got to come over to my control panel here. Give me 1 second. I'm going to switch screens so that you can see my screen with the product on it. Let's just pull this up here really quick. All right. Michael, let me know when that shows up at Business Central.
Yep, there it is.
Perfect. Nice and quick. Good job. So everybody, you're looking at Dynamics 365 Business Central. Now, a word of background here, just so for those of you who maybe aren't familiar with QuickTag or haven't seen it in action before. QuickTag as a document management system, and we started doing this about 21 years ago, we began making the paper go away. What do we mean by that? We enable you to tag documents and get them quickly into a system by scanning them in if they were paper, uploading them if they were digital and maybe already on your desktop, or what we like to call drag and drop, which is often very handy if you've got an email. So regardless of where documents lived in your environment, whether they were on paper, digitally somewhere on your network or your computer, or in your email, they were able to get into QuickTag very quickly, very easily. Scan them in, upload, drag and drop. Okay, so we make the paper go away. And then we put them into a digital filing system called drawers, digital drawers. So we go from a physical filing system to a digital filing system. Quite simply, that was just managing your documents digitally. Once we added the integration to the Dynamics suite of ERP systems, we began to embed, you can see right here on my screen in the ribbon, the menu ribbon right here at the top of the screen, you see this quick tag option shows tag and view. We began to embed this quick tag functionality, the make the paper go away aspect, into multiple screens. And Business Central, formerly NAV, was actually one of the first systems that we integrated this document management into. And within Business Central, and formerly NAV or BC on-prem, if that's what you're still using, we integrate, QuickTag integrates, you'll find this tab on about 80 different pages. So it's not just for finance, it's not just for vendors, it's across all of the core modules that you're probably using within your ERP system. Similarly for GP, we're in 79 different screens. SL, we're in about 33 different screens. AX, about 70 different screens, and now D365 Finance, about 70 different screens. So those pages now in the D365 world, formerly screens in your ERP system, you can find QuickTag. We live right there. Why does that matter? That matters because you don't want to have to go to multiple different systems to be able to associate a document with this given transaction. Now, in the case of what I'm showing you a list of vendors. So I've got American Wood Exports that my cursor happens to be on. So let's see what happens here. When I click tag, what does this mean? It means I have a document in my hand that I want to tag to that American Wood Exports vendor record. So I simply click tag. It jumps right over to QuickTag, and I'm going to log in here for the first time. Oops, I'm already in there. Oh, it wants me to log in again. Give me 1 second. Let me just refresh. I was probably jumping around a little too fast. Let's come back here. QuickTag, we'll click tag. Real world, folks, you know what it is like to go through this live, right? So there we go. It takes us right over to a tag new vendor file screen. So this built-in integration, this embedded QuickTag functionality for document management lives on 80 different pages inside of BC. So you're looking at a paper or you have a paper digitally, which is what I'm actually going to show you, but it pulls all of that data. Check this out. You've got the vendor ID, you've got the vendor name. If there was a phone number on this demo record that I was using, it would appear here, the post code, the company, the NAV company ID that this transaction, this vendor is associated with, shows up here. And you can see there are a couple of fields that are showing in red. Of course, that means they're required. But these other fields are coming straight through from the record, from the transaction inside of Dynamics 365 BC. Now, I could put a file name in here if I want to. Let's just say we're going to add to this that it's a quote from AWE, and it's first time working with this company. So you can put these comments in here if you want to. Of course, they're not required. But what's more, you could add additional fields here if there's some other data that you need to track about a vendor in this case, or about other transactions. So we pull the data that's provided from the record, and you have some options to add some additional data. So now I'm going to submit this. You could see I could add another and retain entries if I needed to. Let's say I was adding a lot of files at the same time, but I didn't want to have to enter the vendor ID or the vendor name. If I was doing this, you know, maybe uploading them a whole bunch at one time, I could save that data and have it populate for all of my transactions. That comes in handy when you're putting a lot of files in at the same time, especially for the same company or for the same vendor. But you can see that, yes, of course, Michael.
Sorry, not to interrupt, but I was going to say, were you going to add a file by dragging and drop here, or are you going to browse out to find one? Because we haven't added a file yet.
I was actually going to show scanning on this one, but let's go ahead and browse out and find one. Yeah. We'll say that this is a quote. We'll drag this one over here. But I'm also going to show you what it looks like if you have a sticker.
Oh, a paper document. Oh, okay.
A paper document. Yeah, I know, right? Kind of crazy. So we're gonna add one of those too, just because sometimes I think people like to see that, don't you think, Michael? They like to see the
oh, yeah,
actual experience with paper. Hopefully, I can get the system here to be able to turn on my webcam. We'll do that in just 1 second. So this time we're going to submit a digital document, but we're going to come back and see in just a moment that we could just as easily have done that with a paper document or an email if we drag and drop. Now, this is a relatively new, and when I say relatively new, it's right now being put into the app source. So, so the product is available. We're getting it in the process of being loaded, having it loaded in the Microsoft Dynamics store. So super exciting. You guys are seeing this like hot off the presses. Nobody else has this yet. So consider this a sneak preview in many cases. So some of the things that I'm going to show you are new to the market because they are just literally coming out of the product launch phase with QuickTag, which is really exciting. But the even greater value for that is I'm just showing you a couple of different drawers here, and we're going to come back to uploading in just one second, is that even in my sample environment, you can see I've got, 34 different drawers, digital drawers, that are associated with those different pages and modules inside of BC. So what I want to show you then in the purchase order phase is, let's go ahead and jump back over to Dynamics BC. And we'll come then to, well, we'll just stay on the vendor card here by way of example. But if we were on a purchase order, of course, it would pull in all of that related data as well. So I'll jump back to QuickTag, and here it is. It's going to pull this up again. Oh, did I not submit this one yet? Oh no, it's waiting for a new one already. Check this out. So that's how quick it is, friends. It was faster than I was even expecting. So I'm going to come over here and change my monitor here to display. Where's my controls? There we go. Okay, so let me see if I can show my webcam. I don't know that I can in this environment. I do apologize. Oh, maybe I can. Hold on. Select a webcam. Well, let me know if this comes up. So can you guys see me? All right, perfect. Awesome. Hi, everyone. So this is what it's like to, I've got to get my headset cord or it's going to look like I'm not doing very well. So this is what it looks like when you put a physical tag to scan a piece of paper. And this is really important because a lot of people say, well, that's great for the documents that are already digital, Mary. I can upload, I can drag and drop like you showed us, but I've got these stacks of paper. And what we see is the most common one of those, friends, is a packing slip. This is the document often that's going to associate maybe one or many pages that often associate the shipment, right? When you receive the goods, when you receive your inventory, when you receive office supplies, whatever it is that you require a document to accompany, you need to get this document that already lives or still is in paper also into the system. So what QuickTag does is you put this little sticker right here. I've got a roll of them with my name on it, and I've got a roll of 500. I just take the next sticker off the roll. I put it right here on this piece of paper. And then the next time that I walk over to the scanner, maybe at lunch or the end of the day or whenever I get a break, and I put one or many, let's say I've got 20 or 50, I've just got a couple here, but I've got as many papers that I have put QuickTags on page one of them. And I go over to the scanner in the top feeder and I press scan to QuickTag. Now our team is going to work with you to set that up, don't worry. But when I click scan to QuickTag and I put these documents into the feeder on the copy machine, it's going to take them and send them right to those transactions where I have created what we call a digital reservation, and it's going to look for this barcode number. Now in a second, when we go back to the screen, you'll see there isn't a barcode number there, but if I put one in, it's going to recognize these numbers. So it's going to then match this piece of paper up with that transaction, just like when we did it digitally. So the idea of associating paper documents with digital transactions, whether in BC or not, is the ideal solution for when you have paper in your business, and QuickTag can handle that too. We call that tag first, scan later. Or you can scan first and then tag them if the documents are already there. So it depends on your business model and how you manage the process today. However, it makes it really easy. We're looking for these barcode labels. Now, the other great thing about them is that if this was a, let's say, 3-page packing slip, the first one, and maybe the next one's only 1 or 2 pages, doesn't matter. What QuickTag does is it looks for the barcode on page 1, and then it knows pages 2 and pages 3 and 4, or however many, are associated with that document. The next time it sees a label, it knows this is a new document. I need to associate this document with a different transaction because it's uniquely identifying this tag number with the barcode label that we've put in QuickTag in the system, okay? So anything else on that, Michael, that I should highlight?
You know, I just wanted to point out that anyone who's ever stood at a copier or scanner and had to try and scan in multiple documents, separate documents, can appreciate this, because without the tags, it'll all come in as one lump document that you'll have to then go in, open up in another application, and separate. Or You have to stand there, let the first one complete, send it to where it needs to go, then scan another one in, let that complete. So the barcodes definitely are a huge help to our customers. They love how you not only can create the reservation like you're showing here in the system, and it'll line up where it needs to go, but also allows you to batch scan and scan as many as your copier can hold in all at one time.
Right. It's super helpful, super helpful. So I'll go ahead and just grab another digital one. Doesn't look like they've even set up barcodes in the system for us. That's how new it is, friends. You're literally seeing it hot off the presses.
Yeah,
so
and I can show that on the GP side too.
Oh, perfect. Thanks, Michael. So then within BC, the other thing I wanted to highlight is we have this concept of what's called IntelliView. Now, this isn't an extensive product training, so I can't show you everything of how this all can be set up. Again, this is sort of a little bit of admin that's required for pulling this together. But here's the beautiful thing. When you're working with purchasing documents, let's say purchasing invoices, purchase orders, and purchase, in this case, let's say receipts. So we'd have purchase orders, purchase invoice, and then the receipt against that purchase order. What QuickTag does in this situation is it ties together all three of those documents. Yeah, we haven't added any. Again, this is so new. I probably need to be careful where I go. They haven't added a lot to our demo environment yet. But it's going to tie together the purchase order, the invoice, and the receiving transaction. So the whole idea of relating documents, and Michael, maybe you can demonstrate this in the way that it manifests in GP as well, where we can show a couple examples. The way that it manifests is that when a document comes in the first stage of its process, again, we'll use the purchase order by way of example, QuickTag knows that based on that purchase order number, those three documents are related. Even though the first one gets tagged at the purchase order screen, the next one gets tagged at the purchase order receiving, and then the purchasing invoice comes in, and QuickTag will relate all of them so that they're visible when you come into QuickTag and need to see those document associations. So I'll show you what that looks like when I come over here into QuickTag. You can see that there's related documents here. And so what QuickTag does is breaks it down so that you see the purchase quote, the posted receipt, and then had the invoice come in, it would show up here. So think of all of the time that you spend looking for, okay, we got the invoice, great, where's the supporting documentation? Oh, it's over on so-and-so's desk. Oh, it's in this filing cabinet, whatever. Now you can come into QuickTag and you can see all of those right at your fingertips, and then the invoice will be associated as well. We call those related documents, but it's using the QuickTag technology called IntelliView. So it enables you to view all of the documents related to a specific purchasing invoice. And so here's the invoice, and then of course here's the quote and receipt that were associated with it. So it builds that together, and purchase invoice is the most common scenario that we see with that. But coming back to just to the other drawers, and again, Michael's going to show you a little bit more of this from a document management standpoint, you can see that the pages that QuickTag creates these digital drawers for are those most commonly used, especially by your finance team, and those that rely on the ERP system, general ledgers and jobs, if you're using jobs within BC, sales order invoices, of course, your vendor records, and then your purchasing module. So it ties things together. So there will be a sales order, similar relationship. So I'm showing you purchase invoice quote and posted receipt, but there can be a sales order relationship as well that documents need to tie together, potentially a customer quote and then an order, things like that. So the concept of the feature IntelliView can be applied to a number of different invoice and transaction types, whether it's an invoice or not. So so that applies across QuickTag for BC as well. And again, you can find that QuickTag menu bar in about 80 different pages. So this is going to be available in the Microsoft Store very, very soon. And document management is going to enable you to go paperless, find everything at your fingertips. It's not going to slow the system down at all because it's connected but doesn't live inside of BC, all of which is very, very powerful from a technology standpoint as well, and an environment standpoint as well. So to continue the demonstration, Michael, I'm going to pass it over to you. I think you just need to take the share button. If I stop, you should then be able to start. give us 1 second, folks. Michael's going to continue
Yep.
the demonstration to
see
show you
GP?
some more. In GP is perfect. Yep, I see it now.
Okay, wonderful. Thanks, Mary. All right, so just to piggyback off of what Mary just showed you on the BC side, what you're looking at here, and this is for really, I mean, just to illustrate that QuickTag will meet you where you're at right now. So if you're in GP or one of the other Dynamics traditional ERP systems like NAV, AX, we have this functionality available for you, and then we'll meet you in the future as well if you're going to be moving to one of the SaaS models, BC, AX, for finance and operations. But just to show you what Mary was illustrating on the BC side as far as that IntelliView of tying documents together, I have a purchasing invoice entry screen open here. So this is a PO-based invoice that went through our automation and was approved, and the invoice was brought into GP, but not just the invoice, but the other documents as well. So just like Mary showed you on the BC side, we are embedded in these in the traditional Dynamics ERP solutions as well. So you would come to the additional tab, and starting at tag and all the way down, you have the quick tag functionality. So I'll show you tag in a moment, but when I click on view, this is that similar experience that you saw on the BC side. So only we have this pop-up window right here in GP that allows you to see the purchase invoice. So I can double click on this, open it up. Yep, that's the invoice that we sent through. But not only that, here's the purchase order that it's tied to. And I actually put a quote in for that instead of a purchase order. We didn't have a PO. And then there's the packing slip when it was received. Nice thing about it is, just like with any of these scenarios, it's always, how do I find it? And then usually the most important thing after that is, well, how can I share it with somebody else? Because usually you're looking for it, not just for you, but whether it's an audit or someone else in the company said, hey, I need to see that invoice, or I need to see that packing list, or I need to see all the documents, and can you share them with me? So you can always view from here, but then also click on send, and you can email out directly from the view screen. So that's a nice benefit there. And then tagging documents. So this is what Mary was showing you based out of the QuickTag interface in KTX is what we call that. But this is right here, you have a nice little window in GP when you're working. You can add a supporting document here. And she did show you the barcode labels. So this is what it looks like when those labels are loaded in. So I have a numbering system that's just assigned to me. I would just put a label, make sure the next label on my roll matches this one here. If I have to increment up or down, I can do that. And put a, let's say this is a, let's say paper contract. And I hit OK, and that creates a reservation in the system. So now when I come to additional and view, I should see those supporting documents. And then if you notice right here, it says to be scanned. So this is what we were talking about earlier, to where you don't have to take that extra step of going and finding the document you scanned in and then manually adding it. Once it reads that barcode number that I just matched up to the label, I stuck it on page 1 of that contract. Even if I scan it in a week from now, just obviously not ideal. We want people to do it as soon as possible. But even if I do it that week or a few days or at the end of the day, it'll marry up to this here and always be associated with this screen here in GP. And it's a good time to note too is that it may look like the documents are being stored on the GP server or they live in GP, but really all of this, and what you saw with Mary as well, all of your documents will reside on a QuickTag server, and you have options there as well. You can host it yourselves, you can host it by a third party, or QuickTag itself we can host your QuickTag server. So you have some nice options, and you're not going to be weighing down your ERP system, because that's one of the big complaints that we see out there with the document management that comes, baked into the product of the ERP system, is that it will eventually start to affect the efficiency and the runtime of the actual ERP system if these documents and the server gets loaded with too many documents and files. All right, so that's tagging. I don't think we showed them the email drag and drop as well. So that's a nice thing
no, that would
too.
be great. Yeah, thanks, Michael.
Yeah. So if you have email documentation, this is a nice
This is really cool.
benefit because because a lot of people say, okay, I want to add documents, but let's say I had an approval email and it had communication in the email itself. So not just the document that's attached. So this is a sample one just from our workflow, but it's got all this documentation in here as far as details on the transaction, any workflow comments. I can just grab that and drag it right over here. It says, are you sure? Do you want to continue? Yes. And now I've just associated an email to this screen. So it'll live in QuickTag. Even if I deleted it out of Outlook, it'll always be stored in QuickTag and associated with this transaction. So when I come to view the email after it's been registered here, so here it is now. We've got the reservation. There's the original invoice. Now we have this email too. I can even email out that email if I wanted to, just like any other document that I find. And when I double click on it, it opens in its native format. And so I've got the attachment, keep opening and drilling down. And so now, like I said, I don't have to go look for that email in Outlook for the supporting documentation to this screen. It'll be here. I can see all the body of the email and the attachment as well.
Which also, just to add to that, Michael, which also comes in real handy at audit time, as some of you might be preparing for audits right now or year end and kind of organizing how things are going to be accessible when you need to set up your audits and get those things scheduled. Because what if that email, Michael, had, somebody's approval or comments or additional coding requirements or something like that in it that was in line with what actually manifested inside of this transaction. So you've got that at your fingertips and it's all stored there, right, with the transaction. A lot of people find that really, really handy. Yeah, thanks for sharing.
Definitely. It cuts down on the time of chasing around and trying to find all these supporting information. Yep. Searching is a big thing too, so you can search from within the GP experience here. So I have search. This allows me to open up a search window and search not just on the filing information, so the metadata around a document, but you can actually search the document content. So this is another big benefit of having a document management system like QuickTag, because thinking about our general experience without one, it's usually I go to a folder, I see a bunch of file names, I don't know what's in that file necessarily. Sometimes the naming convention is off or there is none, and so I have to just keep opening files and clicking to see if I found the right one. Here you can actually QuickTag will scrape all the content of a paper document or a digital document, irregardless. We have built-in OCR for that, and then you can do a keyword search on anything. So if you ordered some phones, and let's say I want to check, within the last couple weeks here, go back into November, day after, it was Black Friday, right? we ordered some
Absolutely.
phones.
They probably had a sale.
On November 29th.
Sure.
So now what it's doing is it's looking for any document with the word phone in it, and
that's pretty quick.
Yeah. So I can come in here, I can see which drawer it's residing, and I'll show you that in a moment back in QuickTag. And again, I can view the document from here. So we're always making those documents available, and you can say, is this the right one? No, not necessarily. So I'm gonna, keep looking, keep opening these up, and then I can say, okay, yeah, that's it, and email it right from here as well, and share with somebody from the search screen. So search is another big thing. So visibility, find the document easily based on content or the metadata, and then quickly share it with somebody right out of your ERP system.
Yeah, that saves a lot of time. You don't have to get up and go look in a file cabinet either, even if it was, what if it wasn't digital yet? You mentioned the idea, Michael, of having to,
Mhm.
go through a digital structure. That could easily have been a manual search as well, which also would be saved right there with not even having to leave the ERP system using the connector QuickTag there, which is the way, of course,
Yep.
that it manifests inside of GP. In the other ERP systems with QuickTag integration, friends, just so you know, it's you would do that same search inside of QuickTag, but it's all connected in the same environment. Just that in GP that you can actually take advantage of that QuickTag search right inside the ERP system. In our other integrations, you would do that inside of QuickTag with exactly the same functionality. So
Yep. Yep.
yeah, go ahead.
And so I'm
I
pulling
think
up the HR side of things in
yeah,
GP. For some reason, it's not allowing me to.
I think it once GP needs to be probably reset.
Restarted. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I'll show you
yeah,
on the QuickTag side of things.
yeah.
I was going to show you, so this same experience that we were just showing you, the additional tag view search, it's available across, Mary gave you all the numbers earlier, but in GP it's 79 different screens. So I was just going to say on an employee side, so this is another area that people use QuickTag is with employee documents for HR. So just as an example, we had a customer who started with us in AP. This is a university, and they here in the States, and they said, I think it was a year later even, the HR department said, we love what they're doing in AP. Can we take advantage of that as well? So so we can build out as many sites and drawers. So you look in here, this is similar to what you saw with Mary. This is our HTML5 based interface. This is basically just your interface with the QuickTag server. So it looks like it's out on a browser, but it's actually just using browser-based technology to display the information. So if I hadn't, it opens up to my task screen if I have anything assigned to me. But I'm going to jump over to drawers just to show you real quick, similar to what you saw with Mary. I've got my Fabricam company set up. This one was with GP. So if I have employee files that I've added, it's one of my favorites here. So I've got it highlighted here. But if I add it in GP, it is residing here in QuickTag. So I can click through and easily find the documents here. So this is an application, same thing. I can find it, email it off to somebody if I need to. And if you're doing it from within QuickTag, we have this nice feature of allowing you to email at a future date too. So if this is like a contract that needs to be reviewed maybe in 10 months or something for a year review, you can set a reminder to yourself or to someone else in the company. Choose an email or type one in, put a message, hit submit, and this actually will not send it right now. It'll send it later on as a nice reminder. And we have automatic triggers as well. So there's a whole world of document management features. I'll try and highlight some of them. Mary, certainly jump in if you want to see anything in particular. But
Sure.
it's just important to know that you can expand this as far as you'd like. I have this this other login that has a lot more here. So for example, when over here in the top left here, you can see this drop down shows all of the sites that have been created
Yeah, maybe
here.
pause
So
there for a second, Michael,
yeah.
and let's just talk a little bit about what Michael's showing you with this list on the left-hand side. Think of QuickTag from a digital standpoint as an empty file cabinet, the way that you would if you were dealing with paper, right? Because remember at the beginning we talked about how what drives us to do this is we have too much paper, it's tough to manage, we can't find things, right? So what Michael's showing here is the digital filing cabinet that now you can create as many as you want. And you've got lots of examples here, Michael. I'm sure you're going to show us just a few that really represent a whole type of documents. And then within them, you'll show us the drawers and how they become full, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
perfect.
definitely.
Thank you.
So so some people, if they have multiple companies set up, they create a different site for each company. If they have, or they just want to break it out, like I was saying earlier, human resources, and then literally, I think it was 4 or 5 months later with this customer, the legal department asked to add a site for them and some drawers and some logic behind them as well. So we can, so here you're looking at a human resources site that was created. These are the drawers. We have application for employment, benefit information, compliance, any disciplinary actions. So these are basically customizable, configurable drawers that you can set up to however you'd like to gather the documents and the data around them. So not only can you click through here and see the documents, and you can see which employee, you can sort based on, you can filter based on last name, and just see the ones related to your employees based on last name, first name, employee number, or whatnot. But it's the metadata around it too. So if I click on plus here, so I could say I wanted to add a new application for employment here in QuickTag, I'll show you what that screen looks like once it lets me. Here we go. So just like you saw on the BC side, where if you're starting in an ERP system, it pulls over that metadata from the screen you're on in the ERP system, and already has those fields configured for you. We can create as many customizable or configurable fields that you need related to any document type. So this is an application for employment, new application. We've just done some samples here. So we have employee ID, and just to illustrate, you can set up tables. So if this is related, every time you hire someone, you add someone to this table. Let's say this is Carol. It automatically populates the employee ID, first name, last name, their status as being active. You can put any comments here, application, and go out and grab that file just as you would in any of the other ways we showed you. So, this is job application. You can drag and drop. You can drag and drop an email. You can do a paper file and match it up just like that. And go ahead and add another if you'd like by clicking that box. And that's how you would add a document to a drawer that you created. So the idea is really sky's the limit. So we have people who use QuickTag for lease agreements as well. Here it is telling me, okay, you want to add another, go ahead. But let me just jump over to we have contracts. That's pretty popular too. And we can, and just to illustrate too, is that this is just one drawer that we've created, but we literally have the ability to create mini workflows then. So a lot of people with lease agreements or contracts, they say, okay, we want to be able to add it, but can you kick off a workflow to have somebody review that contract? So let's say this is a grant. We can do start and end dates. The nice thing is based on these dates, we can also trigger some actions too. So let's say projected end date is August 31st of next year. We can put some logic around it to where someone will get an email notification or a reminder to review this, 30 days before the projected end date, or however you want to set that up. I'll just put some sample information in here. Again, all of this is configurable. You can make this any way you'd like. And when let's just put here just for the sake of fun, I'll submit this off. Yep. And I don't know if you saw that popped up in the bottom right-hand side. Just as we allow you to drag and drop emails, we use email a lot for notifications. So this actually, I forgot, Mary, we actually have a workflow built in when you add a new resume too, or a new job application. So this kicked off a workflow that allows people to reply, take a look at it, review it, and send it in. Send their comments on, and then
for hiring consideration or whatever. Yeah, sure.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And then also with contracts too. That'll come through in a second here.
Awesome.
Yeah. So there's a lot of great things. We have the search bar searching in QuickTag is huge too. So we allow you to create templates as well. I'm going to jump out of the screen and show you. So here's that email for contract. Just the one we just sent through. Remember, it was a grant, General Del Monte, and just as you saw with dragging and dropping emails, we're always going to include the document. So the contract review, any workflow you create will have a document attached. There it is. And then
I
we
just
can
got it
create
too,
these.
Michael.
Oh, you did?
I just got the
You're on
email
my list.
notification too. I'm on your list.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, so then you also have the ability to approve by email too. So we can create these little buttons, approve, reject, or we could require them to log into the system and take some action there as well. So I was going to show on the search bar here. I think it's better to show in this interface here.
Oh,
So
search
we have the
templates.
ability,
Yeah, absolutely.
to create templates too. So there's just so many great things you can do. Just anywhere I look, over here on the right-hand side, you can see we can add different versions of documents. You can download them to work on and re-upload them into the system. And search templates is another big area that people have requested. So these are just a few that we've created. So basically it's saying these are the common fields that I'm going to be working in and in my parameters for my search. So when I click on PO invoices, it's going to give me some parameters for the common fields that I will do a search for on a regular basis. The nice thing is when it's connected to your ERP system, we have direct lookups too into the ERP system. It's a stateful connection, so I just typed ahead for advanced office systems and I was able to pull up that vendor ID. I can do a date range here, let's say just within the last 30 days. Any document number if I wanted to, subtotal, total. Let's say I want to find anything greater than $10,000. Again, this is really great during audit time, but I click on submit and it'll show me now this screen of all the results. We have some that are still pending review here, so a couple here that are pending. And then down here it tells you which company or which site it's in and then which drawer. So Fabricam, purchasing invoice entry drawer has these documents that are within that parameter as well. So then I can click through, I can see workflow history around it. So if I click on this little icon here, so the data is in the system with documents. Think about it. Any document you want in and any data around those documents, we'll be able to display or create a report for you to display and share with others as well. So you have a lot of nice flexibility with getting documents in, whether it's tied to the ERP system or not, and then working with the data and sharing that and the documents as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Michael. That was
Sure.
very thorough. And friends, for those of you on the phone, there's, we're showing you kind of the highlights of a lot of key features here as you can use QuickTag for document management and automation, regardless of which system you're integrated with from an ERP system standpoint. But just know that when you're ready to have that conversation on a deeper level specific to your organization, we'll go through with you what your specific requirements are and demonstrate then just those features that are going to be most applicable in your organization. But I think this has been a great overview, Michael. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. I'm trying to find the button to share.
I think, yeah, you have to go back up to the top in the controls. Yeah, just hover over that Zoom guy and it'll ask you to view. There you go. And then click stop share.
Yeah, I don't know where my controls are.
It's the little,
stop share.
Yeah,
there it is.
Go. Yep. Perfect. Thank you. And then we're just going to round out. Let me know when you can see my slides again.
Here you go.
Did they come up, Michael? Perfect. Okay.
Yep.
So hopefully you've seen in this conversation and demonstration how QuickTag can help you go paperless across not just your ERP system integration, regardless of which Dynamics flavor you happen to be using, and as Michael mentioned, regardless of what flavor you're on today and where you might be going in the future, QuickTag is there and will meet you where you are. So we can help you go digital. You can save a bunch of time when you capture and submit documents digitally straight from the start, or if you have paper documents that you need to have made digital, QuickTag will help with that. And then we have customers who start, it's funny because they start with, we're going to keep the document for maybe 3 months just to make sure that it all gets into QuickTag. by the way, when you do the scan feature to create that reservation that we showed earlier, it's going to send you a notification on a pretty frequent basis. I think it starts out as daily when it says, hey, QuickTag is expecting this document to be scanned in and we haven't received it yet. It's going to give you a notification. So you're going to know right away. And so you're going to get in the habit of scanning documents in. And then after just a few weeks or months or whatever, they go, okay, we don't need to save them anymore. We know that they're going to be fine in QuickTag. And then people, store their documents. We have customers that have literally been using it. We've been in business 22 years. We have customers that have been using us for about 20 years. So once they get, in the habit of going digital, it's really something that's core to the business, and you'll never want to leave that kind of solution. So so once you start going digital, you will stay digital, and we would encourage you to think about all the areas of your business, as we've demonstrated, that can take and go from paperless to a digital experience. You're going to increase your employee satisfaction in doing this. Funny story, we actually went through a number of different conversations with our customers, and we asked them what it is about QuickTag that really makes their job better, and they said, it makes my life better. I'm less stressed. I don't have to spend all this time looking for information, and as a result, they're able to find the things they need to when somebody needs them and then get back to their real job. So it really does increase your employee satisfaction. It helps balance their work life is kind of the way we think about that. We talked about that automatic association of related documents. So you're decreasing both your paper and your processing costs by relating the files that are relevant to each other, whether that's related to a single transaction in, let's say, your ERP system like NAV or GP, or if it's something that you create an association for and say, hey, we always want a contract, an addendum, and approval, or whatever that might be, to be related together. And so we can help build those associations as well. As Michael showed, you can add new sites and digital drawers in QuickTag even outside of BC or any of the other ERP systems, of course, because QuickTag can truly be your enterprise-wide document management system. And we talked about several examples of that visibility and availability of documents at audit time. And if there's, say, email approvals, you'll have all of that. If there's workflow involved, and again, we work a little bit differently in some of the ERP systems than we do others. Ask us about what your process is, and we'll certainly meet you where you are. We didn't have time to even cover it today, but we also have an expense management solution that integrates very seamlessly with GP, creates payables transactions, just like if it was an invoice, and credit card statement reconciliation. Now, if you're not using GP, we have a standalone version of the same thing that has an integration that we'd work with the Optimus team to do an export import into your system. So when you're looking to expand beyond AP or HR or contracts and have expense reports that you have to manage, especially those with corporate credit cards, we can do reimbursable too. But especially those with corporate credit cards, it makes that reconciliation process super simple. We didn't really even have time to cover that today, but just be aware that we can help with that as well. And we, as I mentioned, have been doing this for 22 years. As a result, we have a lot of different customers that work with QuickTag of all shapes and sizes and industries. This is not a one-stop, one size fits all, but it is a one-stop shop. So you can think of it as that organizational-wide document management system. And many of these customers started just as Michael described in AP, where they have a small team, a lot of paper, and a lot of time-sensitive process that needs to get done in a very short period of time many times. So these companies have then added for invoice management, maybe AP automation, expense management, depending on the size of their organization and the volume of documents that they're dealing with. But they all went paperless first, and we can help you do the same thing. And we've talked about how we can scale across many different departments, many different industries, and it's all web-based, it's all at your fingertips, and it truly can help your business grow. I like to think of this as the QuickTag as your Swiss Army knife slide. So just know that we can help you in any area of your business. I've mentioned a couple of times we've been doing this for quite some time. The couple of things that I want to highlight here that we haven't yet covered is the growth that has extended the QuickTag family to about 120,000 business users around the globe. If you think about that, that's a lot of organizations who are daily using QuickTag to go digital in their organization. Some of them choose to automate processes. Michael gave you a couple examples and showed some in the demonstration. We'd certainly love to learn what your process automation needs are as well. And all of our support is based right here in Phoenix, Arizona, a beautiful place to visit most of the year. In fact, right now, I think it's about 65 or 70 degrees this week. I think we're supposed to get back to almost 70. So it's really nice. If you ever want to come out for training or visit the office when you're in the area, certainly let us know. But we're all 100% customer support based, and it's all right in this area. So with that, I'm going to turn it back to Vishal and Gabriel if there's any questions that we need to address. But certainly, if you have other questions or would like to learn more, you can visit quicktag.com or quicktag.com/Optimus Business Transformation, as you see here. You can call us, you can email us, or of course, you can reach out to your consultant at Optimus, and they'd be happy to arrange a demo with our team and put you in touch with the right members to make sure that we can learn what your needs are for document management and process automation. So Vishal?